all of the really great things in my life didn't come by actively searching for it. Then it's not either or, as you mentioned before, it's the and.
One of the easiest gateways to joy for me is to be in the sun and have a smell of a cigarette near to me.
People didn't book me because of my services or buy me because of products, but it was really the personality and the energy behind it as well. And I really go with that feeling. So when I'm pulled towards something, I just start walking there.
And we sold out fully, like Sunday morning, 10 o'clock, fully sold out cinema. So out of the hundreds of people in the cinema, no one cared about the next step. And it was like, okay, this is not the way, this is not the audience. So it took quite some pivots, also some different names before Awake Origins could start as a first version of itself.
Welcome to this special episode of the Awake Origins experience. I'm Joel and today I'm joined by the remarkable Franziska Schaadt, co-CEO and co-lead facilitator of Awake Origins. Franziska is not only an entrepreneur but also a highly intuitive guide. Over the years, our collaboration in leading Awake Origins and facilitating numerous programs has been both inspiring and transformative. Join us as we stroll along the coastline of northern Spain, delving into topics ranging from the inception and evolution of Awake Origins to the integration of spirituality and entrepreneurship, to personal journeys of awakening and self-discovery. Enjoy.
How young were you when you started?
23, 24?
As a full-time entrepreneur.
Yeah.
What is the most important thing you've learned in those years?
That it's truly all about energy. In every single sense. So I've been mostly coaching and consulting larger tech companies. And probably my expertise certainly wasn't the best on the market, just because there are other people who have probably more experience or who have done it longer. But I know the energy that I brought with me, the presence and my being, that is what was the game changer, what is unique. And I think that was a bit of a learning, like people didn't book me because of my services or buy me because of products, but it was really the personality and the energy behind it as well. And I think I realized it even more when I started also being a speaker. It was for me very hard in the beginning because didn't come super natural to me, or at least I had to do some unconditioning before that one took off. And then I realized I don't even need to have a topic. I can also do it without a specific topic. So it's not the expertise or the propositioning necessarily, but it's really the energy that you bring with you. Because in the end, people don't remember what you tell them, but how you make them feel. And I think that's especially true for companies when you also work with bigger teams or if you have bigger audiences. Yes, of course, one part is knowledge transfer, but there's so much more to that. And I guess I truly learned how to harvest and leverage that in my previous business. Well, and now, of course, with Awake Origins, that's a big part of what we do. Energy work and working with frequencies as well.
Yeah. How crucial do you believe it is that you understand energy and frequency as well as entrepreneurship in what we're doing within the Awake Origins?
For me, it's almost at the essence of what we do. Well, maybe to give a bit of a backstory, like how I came to Awake was, of course, first through being a member. And what has resonated with me is that I felt there's a place on the outside where these two that used to be before separate worlds are now coming together. So I always had in me the more, let's say, spiritual side through yoga teacher trainings, or having meditated in ashrams around the world, or having seen certain things that maybe can't be explained in words. And in those rooms, I can feel comfortable, but I could never fully connect to the people that were in there because it felt a little bit too flower power or hippie in a negative sense, or this belief set of money is bad. And then there was this other world where I was in, which were more boardrooms, consulting, working with really large corporates. And there, the furthest they went is personal transformation or soft skills. And I knew, wow, there's so much more. And it felt that in me, both of that came together, but I never found a place on the outside as a physical manifestation of where that's truly integrated. And coming back to your question, I feel like that is the answer to it. Like, that's like the more conscious part. This is about the frequency enhancement. It's the energy work. And then the entrepreneurial business leadership part, that is the other component of it. And I do think like this is what makes us maybe unique or stand out or feel that resonance also with the members, because I truly believe both of us live that. Like, we have both in us, and it's not either or, but as you mentioned before, it's the and.
Yeah, it's interesting for me to realize that both of these worlds you truly enjoy deeply. It's not that, for example, the entrepreneurial part, it's that has to happen. No, you enjoy that deeply.
Yeah.
You embody that really.
Yeah, it's a way also like a city there and nature here. Like, if I would live 365 days a year only in nature, I wouldn't be happy either. I sometimes love the buzzing city. I mean, that's the reason why I spent before a trip to Morocco a whole week in Marrakesh. And I love it. At some point, my nervous system also gets over-triggered again. But I do like, having both in it. It's that and the diversity in it. What are your earliest memories to the very first start of it, and also that intention of getting started?
The moment that something shifted within my awareness, and after a process, it probably took 1.5 years, a process in which I opened up more and more to the possibility that there's something beyond what we can see in this physical realm. So the process of opening up to connection, oneness, and the moment I was able to sink into that and experience it, one of the first thoughts that came afterwards was, that I want to contribute to making it hearable. And I knew that an important key was the blueprint scan.
Mm-hmm.
So that was for me the start of Awake Origins. Okay, we need to do something with the blueprint scan. But I didn't know how or what. So in the very early stages, I thought, okay, well, we're going to bring feedback sessions, coaching sessions, and insightful reports to people. And that was the very first form. Back then it didn't have the name Awake Origins yet. It was just a landing page, and people could book these things.
Yeah.
Very simple. And well, then that did not work out. And very soon I realized that, okay, but the world is not waiting for yet another tool. At least that's the perception of it, another tool to get the self-knowledge. And then I've just been trying out many different things connected to knowing yourself, connected to spiritual growth. And back then for me there was quite some resistance on connecting it to entrepreneurship and leadership. And I was in a stage that I didn't really care about that. Like, I had been building my company, my former company. I had been working with many, many leaders and entrepreneurs and top CEOs. And for me now it's about the spiritual side of things and opening it up, supporting others in it. And it doesn't have to do anything with business or entrepreneurs or leaders. That was my stance back then.
So it was still a bit of this, let's say, either or dimension.
Yeah.
We're in.
I almost felt a resistance to work with the entrepreneurial angle. For me, it was way more important that this realization that I personally had that our understanding as humanity that we are all connected and have this divinity within us, that was primary.
That is so interesting to hear and almost unthinkable for me to relate of, because of course I know you so differently. Like I know now in terms of target audiences, and of course in the last year or so we've talked a lot about target audiences and tuning them a little bit more. And then I know what you get most of the energy from are the real manifestors, the entrepreneurs or the leaders on a boardroom level.
Yeah, but yeah, that was in that period of time, I did not resonate with that at all anymore. So we've tried many things. So for example, we did movie screenings on Sunday mornings in Amsterdam. I may have shared this with you before, but we had a screening of The Red Turtle, one of the movies I love the most. And we sold out fully, like Sunday morning, 10 o'clock, fully sold out cinema. And then we would show the movie, have a discussion about it, etc., etc. And then, of course, we had the intention, okay, this is great. And afterwards people can dive deeper somehow in the path that we had been constructing. So out of the hundreds of people in the cinema, no one cared about a next step. So after this success of selling out, and then no one was interested in the next step. And for me, I remember right away after that we went for a coffee and it was like, okay, this is not the way, this is not the audience, like this is...
Was that right away clear for you that it's not the audience, or could have also been, I don't know, our next step is not clear enough, or where did you get that insight from?
Yeah, it was for me an instant realization, like the success of selling out was so big while we didn't have any proper brand or we were not known, we just sold out. And then no one taking the next step it was very black, white, no, wrong audience. And then the same thing happened with, already back then I had been organizing club nights with some friends of mine in Amsterdam with our favorite techno DJs. And we shifted it into a direction of have a spiritual undertone. So there would be this still proper techno, but the word describing the experience, the angle of it, the visuals would be more about consciousness and awareness. And also there, I remember we had a night sold out, 1,000 people. No one interested in the next step. And still very druggy. Club nights, of course, like 70% going off the charts. And also there was, okay, not the audience. So it took me a while, probably 1.5 years, to realize that there is a reason that in the past I've been working with so many leaders and entrepreneurs. It seems like I had to go through that phase to really understand those kind of people, to understand entrepreneurship, to understand leadership, so that now it could be brought together with the consciousness component of it. Yeah, but I had to go through some resistance there first. And also there it was So I think I do have this visionary quality, but at the same time, I'm someone who really has to learn by doing. So we started with creating a program which was focused on entrepreneurs and leaders to deepen their awareness. I've come from a place of authentic purpose-drivenness. And while my former company was a whole network and community, also there it took me a while to understand, okay, but it's not about us bringing programs to the world. There's another component to it. It's about the community or movement that wants to arise, connected to it. This was also not logical from the start. It had to show itself before I could connect the dots also there. Like, oh, this is a next level community that wants to arise. So it took quite some pivots, also some different names, before Awake Origins could start as a first version of itself.
One of the easiest gateways to joy for me is to be in the sun and have a smell of a cigarette near to me. That's right away, boom, going back to festival vibe with music or whatever's going on. But that's right, and instant happiness.
And it's for you enough to just like smell it in the air instead of actually smoking yourself to bring you back.
It's better to smell it from someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you associate then with those festival times?
I think it's just the joy of being in nice company and music, especially when the sun was out there. Don't have to do anything, and it's, well, you could say it's a sort of a celebration of life. And back then, I needed some substances to get the most out of it. But still, it's rooted in my brain somewhere that the moment you smell cigarette smoke, it's, oh, nice. Yeah. You have something like that, so an external stimuli that brings you somewhere?
Well, I definitely think like the sun. So for me already just sitting here having the sea and the sun makes me incredibly happy. Feeling the sun is just the warmth on my skin. Yeah, so I don't need the cigarettes. I think I have the opposite effect. As soon as I smell cigarettes, I feel like I want to change tables.
When did you find out the sun is so important to you? Because you did not grow up in a very sunny region, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Wasn't this in the southwest of Germany?
Yeah, close to the French border. I guess probably weather-wise it's a little bit similar to the Netherlands. Maybe less rain and a bit more mountains and hills. When after Germany I moved to the Netherlands, so then I definitely didn't know yet that sun was so important to me. Otherwise I wouldn't have made that choice. Thinking of when it was maybe in my times when I lived in Cape Town. It was in the beginning of my 20s. But even then, no, that's also not fully true, because I usually spend the winter somewhere in a sunny place, but it was not that I really felt like I almost needed the sun like a battery to recharge. It's maybe more recent in the last 4 or 5 years. But it's not that there's a really specific moment right now that comes to my mind or a trigger. Just realize for me it really is, I'm just recharging. Just put me for an hour in a cafe in the sun and I leave being really happy. It's the same when I go for a swim and I can just float on top of the ocean. It's, somehow nature recharging me or my batteries, and I don't have to do anything for it.
And over the years, you've got to know yourself better, also in your whole energy, in your energy management, and what lifestyle supports you. Is there anything specific that you know about yourself? Why sun is it more important to you than the average person, or is it actually something all of us benefit from, to the extent that you do?
Well, winter depression is a real thing, right? Like I speak to many people, even some of our members as well, who sometimes struggle from it. So if for days, sometimes it's like weeks in a row and you haven't seen any sun, you didn't get any vitamin D, like it also really does something to your body on a biochemistry level and therefore mentally. So I do think sun does well for everyone in general, at least a certain base of it. Yeah, but maybe some people are just more affected by it than others. You know, and there's also sometimes this moment where I tell myself, like, I don't want to be, let's say, so dependent on circumstances. Can I be happy no matter if the sun is out or not? And certainly on some days that is possible. But to me, I truly feel it when there for weeks and weeks has only been a gray sky and no bit of sunshine. I really feel it in my mood. So I'm not an enlightened Buddha yet. In that sense that I can say external circumstances don't affect my mood or my well-being.
Also, maybe we should put you for months in a gray area so that you have a bit of a challenge to go deeper.
Well, I was for almost 7 years in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
How's it for you with the sun? Does it have such a big effect on you?
Well, probably not to the extent that it has on you, but well, I did move out of the Netherlands into the sun. And back then, one of the reasons was we were in another lockdown. And I thought, well, if the whole world is closed down and the only thing I can do is go out into nature. But then nature is rainy and dark for months in a row, then I'd rather be in a different country. So that was the original trigger to be open to leave the country really for a longer time. And yeah, also like this, it's February now. To be able to be in this sort of weather does feel like a big gift. So yes, it definitely enables happiness. It's indeed not inner happiness, but it is a easy enabler. So how has it evolved over time for you? Your ability to use your intuition and sensitivity? And did it happen by itself or did you work for it?
I think I never consciously did something with it until I was 18 or 19, because before that it was just normal. When, I don't know, a family member had headaches or so, I would put my hands over their head and just move, for example, the energy. So, but that's what I meant with it was normal. I didn't do something with it. And then when I was 18, I moved to Amsterdam and I met an incredible man there who appeared in my life. He was Indian in his 70s and he became my teacher. And maybe the best way to describe him is that he was like a yoga teacher, very deep into the ancient yoga as well. We studied the Bhagavad Gita, Sanskrit language, Ayurveda, food, nutrition, all that is a part of it, meditation. And I practiced with him for 4 years, every day at 7 a.m. on the mat. And I definitely had big party weekends as well. But again, Monday morning at 7, I would be on the mat with him. And he has shown me a lot, not necessarily by teaching me through words, but just by seeing him practice and deal with it. And he would see people on the mat who would come to yoga for him, and without having any context, not even the name, he knew about their lives. Or I came in once and, for example, my grandfather was passing away, and he knew, even though we've never spoken. So there was clearly something in that intangible that he could sense, and somehow that started to unlock more in me as well. And I had a few more of these teachers or mentors who really came onto my path, and I never looked for it. It's not that at any moment in time I thought, this is the person I want to learn from, or this is something I want to get deeper into, but they really appeared out of nothingness, and some of them also disappeared again after a few years. Same with the incredible shaman who I've been studying with, and now, of course, in the more recent years with Nanda and Laurens, who have been guiding me. And I think, especially since Awake, there's again another almost leap that I have made in terms of my intuition.
So when you started out so young with going on this path, what was your intention with it? Was there an intention, or was it just happening?
There was no intention, no.
So it just felt right? What?
I think a part of it was, and still is, curiosity. And I really go with that feeling. So when I'm pulled towards something, I just start walking there. But it's not that I'm then intentionally walking or having a certain agenda or purpose to it. It's way more playful, I guess. And I also stopped walking, or I stopped getting drawn when it doesn't feel aligned anymore. It all felt always very natural or organic, a bit like, I think, this adventurer that is inside of me that comes out in different contexts. Like on the one hand, the traveling or living so nomadically was fueled by that, but also the discovery when it came to different mentors and teachers was a bit like that as well. I was just very naturally curious and wanting to know more.
So curiosity is a better word than seeking for answers, in your case.
Yeah, I'm really not a seeker. Really not. I even feel physically, when you say the word seeking, I feel myself like going backwards. It doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah.
In my mind, it feels a bit like, if you seek, you won't find. And that's just from my personal life experience, because I feel like all the really beautiful things, the best things, even that we started collaborating, I didn't seek for that.
Yeah.
Like all of the really great things in my life didn't come by actively searching for it.
Interesting. Indeed, with you, it could work like that. I think for some people it is. Seek and you shall find.
Yeah.
A very famous person who said that.
Yeah, I know, that's why I referenced.
Yeah. But in your case, it's just very different. It's a more playful curiosity that leads the way.
Yeah, and also I really believe, and maybe that has to do with more the yin quality of being in my feminine essence, it's attraction. I truly believe in this, radiation, and then like magnetism, you attract the things onto your life. And if I look back, even in a professional context, if I look into my previous company, I've never went hunting for clients. There was always an attraction. And by that, I don't mean I just sit and wait for things to fall into my lap. Not at all. There's also aligned action taking involved and being clear on what you want and these kind of things. But it's way more coming to me than me having to seek or to chase it.
Thanks for watching or listening. If this conversation with Franziska spoke to you, hit follow on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you're tuned in. And if you're ready to go deeper, the Awake Origins waitlist is open. Link below.